Right, ladies and gentlemen, today we have an old-fashioned chrome off where I get two cameras to shoot a roll of expired Kodachrome 40 as best they can and see which one shot it better. And it's sponsored today by Bar Pineapple, on sale at the pound shop. Oh my god, that's disgusting. This one you may recognise, the anti-hero of some of my films. It's the big, heavy, noisy, ugly, very first ever autofocus Sankyo ES44 XL VAF. On the right hand side, a newer acquisition, Eumig Sound 128 XL. The last camera Eumig made before Super 8 pretty much had its head kicked in by VHS. Of course, Kodachrome 40 would have been exactly what these would have been shooting back in the day. In fact, this roll of film is probably the same age as the cameras. The thing about Kodachrome 40 now is that you've got to overexpose it a couple of stops. And in that respect, the Sankyo has the edge because it's got full auto or manual exposure down to f2.2. The light meter inside the viewfinder does go down to 1.4, but it seems to be only manually adjustable down to 2.2, so I'll shoot it at that. And the Eumig has got a very weird sort of exposure control, because here you can just hold that down and make it open up one stop, or, and this is really weird, inside the compartment there's this, which is a coin movable switch under the cartridge, which will open and close the iris one or two stops. And how the hell you're going to be doing that like in a changeable environment is beyond me. Maybe it's just made for sort of fine tuning. Very weird. And of course, this is the reason why I got this, the Eumig 128 XL, is that it's got a built-in intervalometer, which is quite nice. You can do one frame every half second, every 2 seconds, or every 10 seconds, and even a self-timer. They tried to put all these features in it, and they did, but they put them in strange places. Like it's got to go into fast motion, it's got a sort of a dipper switch here. To open one stop, it's got that. Anyway, this has been the subject of its own movie, this one, which I'll link to. But it's the old Sankyo. Not much more to say really about this. Let's look at the film we'll be putting into this thing. So this would have been made in America by, oh my god, look, the Russians! The red's under the beds! This is Kodachrome 40, but I've of course just put 20 feet of it inside one of these Soviet-made reloadable cartridges. It's a good thing about these cartridges, you can just put a few bits and bobs and short ends and stuff into them and just shoot it. So that's 20 feet, so that's going to be, what, a minute? About a minute and a half of footage, so it's fine. So I'll shoot about 45 seconds on each camera. And not much more to say, except let's stick the film in, get some batteries into these cameras, and may the best one win. Right, well, before we go into anything, I'd like to address the violent yellow tint of these films. This was due to a developing error during the processing of the Kodachrome. I won't go into it all now, I'm going to make a separate film all about that. But for the moment, let's just see past the sort of Lucozade coloured result we got here. Basically, it's very, very difficult to see which camera actually shot the film better. I think the Eumig might have a slightly better lens. The picture is slightly sharper with the Eumig. However, the Sankyo has a nice adjustable iris. I mean, if I had to pick up one of these cameras again to film some Kodachrome, I'd probably go with the Sankyo, even though when it's wide open there is a little bit of softness I can see in some of the wide shots. Unfortunately, I didn't replicate these shots with the Eumig, so it's very hard to see them side by side. The only shot that was pretty much the same that I got side by side was this one of the back of the house, which I do with all my tests. And it's kind of hard to tell which actually looks better. I would say objectively the Eumig comes out slightly ahead. However, in terms of ease of shooting, I think the Sankyo was a lot easier than the Eumig. It had the autofocus, it had the iris that could be easily adjustable with just a single knob. With a wide open iris and with a sunny day, certain shots like this one of the Albert Memorial in London and these picnickers in Kensington Gardens just come off really nicely, look fantastic. This shot was done at I think 8 frames a second, just to see what difference it would make to the picture. And at the very end, Mr. Bill Burr there at the Albert Hall. So I want to do this test again really with a couple more cameras. Now I'm quite interested in doing these side by side. I may even take one roll of Kodachrome and shoot like 10 seconds on it on every single camera that I have. That would be a good thing, and then I can actually develop it properly. Well, properly I mean in black and white rather than black and yellow. Although the black and yellow thing, I don't know, I quite like the effect. I think if I ever want to shoot something that's like really golden colour like this, it's just another tool in my toolbox, or just another colour on my palette, or another trick in my arsenal, whatever you want to call it. So I hope we've all learned something, and I'll be back soon with more films.